Have you been affected by Selfie-gate? Hey, it's me, Curtis P, and this is just another tech show. Starting off with the biggest news of the week, everybody, Microsoft had a pretty big event announcing a number of brand new Surface-related devices. The first new item is the brand new Surface Pro 6 that includes a 8th generation Intel processor, comes in a brand new black color. It has a 67% faster processor than previous models. It also has 13.5 hours of battery life, up to 16 gigs of RAM, and it starts at $899. Downside here though, it doesn't come with a USB-C port, so that's a little unfortunate. Hopefully maybe next year Microsoft will update its products to include USB-C. Along with that, Microsoft also announced a brand new Surface Studio. The Surface Studio 2 has the same size 28-inch touchscreen, but it is now brighter. It also is the fastest Surface ever with a 50% upgrade with more powerful graphics. It also includes a 2TB SSD inside, 7th generation Intel Core i7 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and of course, it starts at a staggering $3,499 US. So yeah, you're probably not running out to buy that just on an impulse, but hey, it's a nice computer. An interesting announcement at the event was the brand new Surface headphones. Built into these over-the-ear headphones is Cortana. Along with that, there's also a brand new noise cancellation with 13 different levels of noise cancellation built right in. It also has 4 beam-forming microphones, 4 active noise canceling microphones, and 40mm drivers right inside. Also along with that, if you take the headphones off, you also get the auto pause, auto start that many other headphones are debuting these days. Now, no release date has been set as of yet, but Microsoft says it'll be available for the holiday season for $350. So overall, my takeaway here, there are some pretty great announcements by Microsoft here, and the company's been doing some great things with the Surface product over the past couple of years, really creating a standout product for Windows to sort of debut and really be seen in a positive light. No longer is Windows sort of the off-brand that's sort of on the cheaper laptops. Now, if you want a higher-end Windows computer, you can get one, and Microsoft's really proving that there are some really great things that they can do with Windows. I may be a pretty big Apple fan, but when I look at that Surface Studio and that Surface Pro, there is a part of me that really wishes I could just get in on that and maybe use it for a little bit of time. See if I actually like it. Maybe it's better than the Apple side. So yeah, overall, Microsoft's been doing a great thing with all of these Surface products, and hey, if you're someone that's in the market for a new Windows-based device, I would definitely check out the Surface line before anything else. Next up, we have to talk about Elon Musk. Because of what happened last week, there's been a little bit of a settlement. Following the big news last week, Elon Musk has settled with the SEC. Elon Musk will be stepping down as the chairman of Tesla within 45 days, and he won't be able to take that role with the company again for another 3 years. Along with that, Elon Musk and Tesla both have to pay $20 million in fines. So altogether, $40 million just for a single tweet. That's a little expensive. An interesting inclusion with all of this settlement here is the fact that a lawyer will now have to oversee all of Elon Musk's communication. So I think the days of Elon just randomly tweeting stuff is behind us. Personally, I think that's a good thing, because after all of this sort of happened, it's good to see that Elon kind of got off scot-free this way. You know, yes, it's a fine and he has to step down from chairman, but he still gets to stay on as the CEO. And it's probably a good thing that Elon has to get a lawyer to oversee all of his tweets, because sometimes he tweets some random things that I think maybe you just shouldn't tweet that. So yeah, overall, I think this is a win-win for Tesla and maybe Elon Musk's image. Talking about image though, it looks like Google just can't keep any of their products hidden, because it appears the new Chromecast has not only leaked out into the physical world, but someone actually bought it. An updated version of the Chromecast appears to have went on sale early for a Reddit user. Now, apparently the store actually put the item out onto the shelf early, and they initially couldn't sell the item to the user because it wasn't in the sales computer. But they did the logical thing. They just took last year's model and they charged the same thing for this new model. Because yeah, if it's not in the computer system and you can't sell it, you should just sell it anyway. So of course this means we get a good look at the new product that Google hasn't even announced yet. The new version appears to have a less glossy top on it, and it actually no longer has the Chrome logo. It actually has the Google logo. Overall, you can expect to hear more about this brand new Chromecast along with the Pixel Pixel 3 and the Pixel Book at the October 9th event that Google is hosting next week. And again, to add to the story here, this year has been a bad year for Google because literally all of the new products they have to announce this fall have leaked online. So not only online, they've leaked into the physical world. Like, people are holding the devices before Google has even announced them. So it might be a good idea maybe next year for Google to try to like get a little bit more secure about its products, because really in the end it kind of ruins the whole like fun of hosting one of these big keynote events, because we already know what you're going to announce, Google. Just get on stage, announce the thing, and let's move on with our lives. But keeping on the topic of the Pixel here, some good news for Pixel users in the US at least, because Google is opening up a repair service. Google is now offering a repair service for their Pixel phones, which are currently outside of warranty. Now the bad news here is that only available to US customers at this time, so hopefully they'll expand that in the future. But overall, any repairs that need to be done to your Pixel device should be done within 7 to 10 days, which is a pretty good turnaround time. And again, this is just another great step for Google, because if they're gonna get into the hardware market, they need to figure out a way to actually fix this hardware when it inevitably breaks. So yeah, props to them, because this is a good step going forward. Maybe in the future, they'll even have Google stores where you can bring in your products to actually get them fixed. Because as Apple has already proven, and Microsoft is also sort of doing, it's good to have an actual physical store, because sometimes when something breaks as a customer, it's nice to just bring it in and be like, why is this broken? Can you help me please? Instead of just having to deal with like online customer support, because sometimes that's annoying. Or if you have to actually be on the phone, that could be even worse. Next up, if you picked up a brand new iPhone XS or an XS Max, you may be suffering from selfie-gate. Yes, as many people online have pointed out, it appears that the brand new iPhones are sort of smoothing your skin and your blemishes away. But a new blog post came out this week talking all about it and saying this is probably not actually what Apple is intending to do here. Creators of the popular raw iPhone camera app Holiday have posted a blog article attempting to clear up some of the misconceptions of this selfie-gate, pointing to the auto HDR as the reason for the smoothing effect that many users are seeing. So surprise, surprise, Apple actually isn't applying some sort of weird filter on top of all of your photos. What they are doing though is a more aggressive noise reduction due to the multiple merged exposures of the HDR. Basically, the HDR also reduces the sharpness of the photos by eliminating sharp light and dark contrast where light hits parts of your skin. Now, the HDR mode is one of the biggest improvements that came with a brand new iPhone XS and the XS Max, allowing you to take photos in wider dynamic range and in harsher conditions like bright light and dark night. Now, keeping in mind iOS 12.1 will be coming out in the near future, so maybe Apple will tone down its noise reduction for future photos, or maybe they'll even add some sort of setting which you will allow to just turn that right off in case you don't want it. But I really can't touch on it much more than that, as I don't own one of the new phones and I haven't really seen too much on this online. Like, I've seen people posting photos of it, but overall I haven't noticed it and been like, oh, that looks really bad. Because overall I kind of think it looks good, but maybe that's just me. I've used the Samsung phones in the past. They've kind of done a similar sort of thing, and sometimes I actually think it looks nice. But hey, that's just me. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Do you like the sort of smoothed out skin, or do you want something that's like rough and real? Let me know down below. Keeping on the phone news here, everybody, camera maker Red has been attempting to launch their new hydrogen phones for the past year, and surprise, surprise, there's another delay. The company's founder, Jim Jannard, has announced this week that the titanium versions of the phone have been delayed. Now, the aluminum versions of the phone still appear to be on track for release later this month, but they're blaming supply chain issues for the delay surrounding the titanium version. In a surprising announcement, though, coming out of Red, the company has announced that if you pre-ordered a titanium version, the company will be shipping you an aluminum version for free. And then when the titanium version is actually available, they'll ship you that one as well. But you can keep the aluminum version because, hey, you know, now you got two. So it's an interesting move by Red. Like, it's good because it makes people feel good about their purchase, but at the same time, now you are giving away phones for free, and that can't be cheap. Overall, I'm very interested to see what this phone is all about. Of course, it has this sort of interesting modular camera system on the back, and it also has this weird new 3D sort of display on the front, which is kind of weird to me. It sort of harks back to a couple of years ago when like everyone was trying to do 3D displays, and then everyone kind of realized that 3D wasn't a thing that everyone wanted. So yeah, seems weird that Red would be kind of trying to still do that since everyone else sort of moved on from there. But we'll see. Once the devices actually finally ship and we see reviews online, then we'll be able to dive into it a little bit more and see if it's actually good or if it's bad. Though I can make a pretty good guess as to which one I think is going to be the proper answered. Some big internet news from the past week here, as California has passed their very own net neutrality laws. The governor of California, Jerry Brown, signed in the US's toughest net neutrality bill into law this past week. The new law prohibits internet providers from actually blocking or throttling any illegal apps and websites. It also bans paid prioritization of content over their own networks. And this law was pushed through in response to the FCC revoking net neutrality laws back in 2017. Now, no surprise here, the FCC is not too happy about this announcement. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai actually stating it's radical and it's illegal. Now, only half an hour after California actually passed this bill, the FCC filed a lawsuit against the California government. So it'll be interesting to see how that all sort of plays out. Now, the new laws don't actually go into effect until next year, so there is a little bit of time to sort of get everything sorted out and see how these lawsuits play out as well. Because in the end, if California actually wins these lawsuits, it could set a very big precedent for other states in the US. Because if California gets away with this sort of law, other big states could go the same way. And then at that rate, if there are multiple big states that are supporting this sort of thing, big providers would have to cave to their demands. So in the end, the FCC might not have net neutrality anymore, but if individual states do, it could basically affect the entire country the same way. Interesting news surrounding my favorite tracking devices here. The Tile company has announced 2 new versions of their tracking little chip thing. It now has replaceable batteries, so that's good. The new Tile trackers also include louder volume levels and extended Bluetooth range, which is great. Now, the older versions of the Tile actually only had about a 1-year battery life, then you had to send them back to Tile. But these new versions, they also keep their 1-year battery life, but you can now simply pop out the battery and put a new one in, which is a lot better because in the past, basically what you did is you shipped your tiles to Tile, and then they gave you a discount to buy new tiles. So it's kind of like they did a battery swap, but basically you were just switching the whole device, which was, you know, it worked, but it wasn't really the most elegant solution. Now, instead, Tile allows you to switch the battery, but they are charging a service fee. So a monthly service fee of about $3 to sort of use their service. So instead of buying new tiles every year, you now just have to pay a monthly fee. So, you know, it's one bad and then the other's bad, so I don't really know. You pick your poison, basically. So in the end, I guess you can just add Tile to the growing list of monthly services that we're all paying for online. Ending off the show this week with some Wi-Fi related news, everyone, because that's always fun. The Wi-Fi Alliance has announced that they are rebranding the Wi-Fi names. Instead of being 802.11ac and B and all that other stuff, it's now just going to be Wi-Fi 4, 5, and 6. These new simplified naming conventions for Wi-Fi of the 802.11n, 802.11ac, and 802.11ax are all a thing of the past. Now they will just be referred to as Wi-Fi 4, 5, and 6. Hopefully this makes it actually easier for consumers to understand which is better and what devices work with what type of Wi-Fi. And really, I'm happy to hear this. It was kind of a weird thing. I sort of found it online and I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually a really good change. Because anytime you try to explain Wi-Fi to someone, you're like, oh yeah, it's 802.11ac. They're like, I don't know. What are you saying? Are you speaking English? Now, if you just say, oh, it's Wi-Fi 5 or it's Wi-Fi 6, they can better understand it and they know that 6 is obviously better than 5 and 4. So yeah, overall a good change here. Just makes it simpler for users to understand this better. And then going forward into the future, we don't have to continually remember these weird numbers. We just have to remember, you know, what version we're on. So it's a better change. Well, that's a look inside of the world of tech this week. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe for new content coming out throughout the next week. Of course, if you have a topic you want me to talk about, you can tweet it at me. But until next Friday, everybody, I'm Curtis Paradis. Have yourself a great weekend and I'll see you right back here next week.